Hello, this is High Templar. Welcome to my Total War Warhammer Mechanics videos. And today we will be revisiting the idea of the wood cover with the range units. Because recently I've seen some interesting, fights, and I wanted to reevaluate if that's still a thing, because in Rome 2 the forest cover was pretty important. So let's have a look if in Rome 2 it is still as important as before. We have some peasant bowmen on the right and on the left, and here we have two units that are in the forest cover. However, if you look at it, really most of the units are actually almost out of the woods. The trees itself will not bring that much cover. Also awesome arrows kept in the midair, and this unit as well. Pretty much no difference. This one is out of the forest already, and the last one in the open air. When those units, all of them, are quite in the open. Oh, those arrows do look awesome. So let's have a look. This is the first volley. And I can assume this first volley has ended. And here we have, pretty consistent, starting from 4700 down to 3900, to 3900, 3900, 3900, 44 only. So those units who were firing out of the trees were actually giving out some limited damage. Quite limited. This is around half, even in this case a third of the damage. On this side we will have, for the units that are hidden inside the forest, it's 4500 and 4500. Pretty consistent, if you ask me. Alright, so let's have a look after the short exchange how it will look. Some units are already wavering. Let's see after three volleys. After three volleys we have down to 2500, 2200, 26, 26 on both of these cases. Not really sure why there is now a difference, but there is some random generation difference. But as you can see, it's not that much of a difference. 2500 and 26 and a half, 26, 22. There is a difference here. Probably because those guys were not able to kill as many of those. Here, for the units that are hidden in the forest, even if the forest do not bring that much cover, it's 41,500 and 3,900, whereas for those guys it's 34 and 31. So it is quite obvious that after three volleys the damage dished out by the units from the forest are less than for other units. But when after the three volleys the difference was quite significant. After the first volley, after the third volley, it's not as visible as before. There is less of a difference in the amount of damage, still about a half. The units hidden in the forest are doing pretty okay with 41 and 3800. Slightly better than those units, but not amazingly so. Those two units are wavering as those two, but we do have a chain waver at this moment. Those two units still in a fight. Just before they route 28, 2600, where those guys 37 and 35. So as you can see, a significant improvement if you do put your units in the forest. And even if those guys were scared by this lord nearby, as you can see, it was a win. It was a quite clear win. So let's see another example in slightly different forest, and we would be able to compare the results. Just quickly look at this. We have 18 and 14 2-2, and on this side we have the units that are hidden in the forest 17 and 13, so half as much kills as the units that were outside, but also took almost no damage. And almost no kills here, only 2 kills. So that's quite important with the range units, because those units that has still 88 men left in the unit, they will still be able to shoot and provide a lot of damage to the enemy, even if their health is diminished and quite significantly, but they will still have all the power of attack that they had before. So let's see another example. Again, here we see peasant bowman. I'm using the same unit for the better comparison, and let's have a look. Here we have 2 units on the open field against 2 units of peasant bowmen in the different kind of forest. Those guys do have a better cover due to some of those pines being straight in the way of the arrows. And here we have 2 units on the open ground and 2 units on the similar kind of cover, but even the thicker one, especially with this unit. I am using those units, flying units, the Lord and the Paladin, to spot the enemy units, because it was pretty hard to actually spot them and make an attack order, which is another significant advantage of being in the forest, but also to simulate the rest of the army, so the units will not rout so easily when the one will rout. Also, those flying arrows. Right, so let's see the first volley. And I do believe the exchange is done. And here we have 41.5, 44 almost, 41.5, and 42. So again, pretty much the same as before. Those guys were taking diminished fire, diminished damage from the units firing out of the forest, significantly more diminished than in Rome 2, for example. And pretty much the same situation here, although those guys were shooting from fairly deep within the forest, and they still managed to do more than 500 damage on this unit. For those guys, 4,400, not that diminished, but less than those guys. 4,600, almost no damage. 46 and 46. Right? One more volley. One more volley. Sound starting break. 3 volleys again, comparison. 30, 100, 30, 300. So even less damage as before, but it is damage. Those units are routing, they are damaged pretty badly. 29 and 33 almost. Yeah, 30 almost. So similar results as before. On these guys, however, for 4,000 health, still 4,100, 42 and 4,300. So almost no damage on the units that are in the forest. And the end result is pretty obvious. Those guys were able to stay a bit longer in the fight, but if we look at it, almost no damage on one side and significant damage on the other side. Even though I wanted to prevent the early rout did happen with less kills on the Bretonnian side. But what I mean is, forests are still very, very valuable, and you should be using them. And it proves that my latest games, multiplayer games that I played in the campaign, that in Steel Fate mode, the archers, the goblin archers, are really, really bad, because they had that advantage and height advantage, and they still lost. So as you can see, significant advantage being done by in the forest. You've seen the numbers. You can draw conclusions after the first volley, after 3 volleys. This will give you a rundown of how much of a difference will it make through time. And this is it. I hope you like it. If you did, press like, comment if you will, and see my other videos in War Warhammer. I'm doing mechanics videos, mod reviews, DLC analysis, and speculation videos, but also let's plays in War series and other games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.